Ripa has always been one of those celebrities who's as famous for her candor as she is for her charisma. Whether she's hosting Live with Kelly and Mark alongside her husband Mark Consuelos, or sharing personal anecdotes on her podcast, she has a way of making you feel like you're right there in her living room, sipping coffee and laughing along. But recently, the 53-year-old daytime TV queen opened up about a surprising family confession, one that caught fans and maybe her kids a little off guard. She admitted that she spent less money on her sons, Michael and Joaquin, than on her daughter, Lola. And it's not for the reason you might think. The Ripa Consuelos family dynamic. To understand Kelly's reasoning, it's worth knowing how her family operates. Kelly and Mark, who tied the knot in 1996 after a whirlwind romance that's the stuff of soap opera legend, have always been hands-on parents. They've raised 3 kids, Michael born 1997, Lola born 2001, and Joaquin born 2003, under a roof where humor, honesty, and work ethic are the core values. Despite the glitz of Hollywood, Kelly and Mark have famously resisted the urge to raise spoiled celebrity kids. In fact, Kelly once revealed on Live that she and Mark made their children work summer jobs like any other teens. Whether it was babysitting, restaurant work, or internships. "We wanted them to know the value of $1, she explained in a past interview. But when it came to how much money she spent on each child, fans were surprised to learn that the boys were given the shorter end of the budget stick." The bombshell confession. Kelly's revelation came during an on-air conversation about parenting expenses. She casually dropped the comment, "We actually spent a lot less money on the boys, and it's not because we love them less. They just didn't cost as much." Cue a wave of curious looks from her co-host and husband, Mark, the studio audience, and, inevitably, her kids, who probably heard about it from friends before they even checked their phones. The less money comment sparked a larger conversation about how boys and girls often have different needs and how those needs translate into dollars spent. The Lola factor. It turns out, the main reason Kelly spent more on Lola comes down to something many parents of daughters can relate to: clothes, beauty, and social events. Kelly admitted that Lola's teenage years came with a steady rotation of formal dresses, accessories, and salon visits, not to mention a social calendar that rivaled that of a Hollywood starlet. Proms, sweet 16s, charity galas, holiday parties. Lola had outfits for them all. With Lola, it wasn't just the events, it was the hair, the makeup, the accessories, Kelly explained with a laugh. Every outfit needed the right shoes, the right bag, and I get it. I was the same way at her age. But boys, they just didn't care as much. Michael and Joaquin, on the other hand, were content to wear the same jeans and sneakers for years, as long as they were comfortable. The jeans for life philosophy. Michael, the eldest, apparently had what Kelly calls a uniform approach to fashion. Once he found a shirt or pair of pants he liked, he wore it until it was practically threadbare. He had a pair of jeans in high school that he wore so much they eventually turned into shorts because the knees just gave out. Kelly recalled, "We didn't replace them for ages because he didn't want us to. He thought they were perfect." Joaquin, the youngest, was even less concerned with appearances. He was into sports and comfort, Kelly said. If it was clean and didn't itch, he'd wear it. Between the boys' low-maintenance wardrobes and their general disinterest in fashion trends, the family's clothing budget for them stayed surprisingly low. The sports scholarship factor. Another financial difference came down to extracurricular activities. While all 3 kids were active, Joaquin's intense commitment to wrestling ended up leading to a scholarship opportunity, a huge financial win for the family. Kelly explained that, unlike some parents who shell out thousands for travel teams and private coaches, Joaquin's wrestling journey was relatively straightforward. He had natural talent and a lot of discipline, she said. Once he got to the college recruitment stage, we were actually saving money compared to what some families spend on sports. Michael's college years also came with some financial relief. As a student at NYU, he lived at home for a while, cutting down on housing expenses. No spoiled celeb kids here. One of the key points Kelly made was that the Ripa Consuelos kids didn't grow up with unlimited access to their parents' wealth. Kelly and Mark made sure their children understood budgeting from a young age. "Even though we could afford to give them everything, that wasn't the point," Kelly said. "We wanted them to appreciate what they had. That means sometimes saying no, and sometimes letting them figure things out on their own." For example, when Michael wanted a new gaming console, Kelly didn't just hand over her credit card. Instead, she encouraged him to save up from his summer job. Joaquin had a similar experience when he wanted to upgrade his sports gear. He had to pitch in financially, when spending more was necessary, of course. There were times when the boys did get more financial attention, especially when it came to education and career development. Michael, now an actor and producer, received support for professional headshots, acting classes, and early career expenses. Joaquin's wrestling pursuits occasionally required travel and equipment costs. But, overall, Kelly says, they just didn't drain the checking account the way Lola did, and I say that with love. Fans react. Once Kelly's confession made the rounds on social media, the reactions poured in. Many parents, especially those with both sons and daughters, nodded in agreement. One commenter wrote, "I have 2 boys and a girl. My girl has cost me triple over the years. Dresses, makeup, hair appointments, it adds up fast." Another joked, "Boys are cheap because they don't notice when their clothes stop fitting. They'll wear the same hoodie until it turns into a crop top." Some fans teased that Kelly had just started a family feud, but the lighthearted way she shared the story made it clear there were no hard feelings in the Ripa Consuelos household. The lesson behind the laughter. While Kelly's anecdote was humorous, it also revealed a bigger truth about parenting. Expenses often come down to personality and priorities, not just gender. Some daughters might be as low maintenance as her sons, while some sons might rack up hefty bills for sports, hobbies, or high-end sneakers. Kelly herself acknowledged this. Every kid is different. For us, the difference just happened to line up with gender, but that's not a rule for everyone. A peek into Ripa's parenting philosophy. Kelly's approach to money and parenting fits into her broader philosophy of raising independent, self-sufficient kids. She has spoken often about the importance of teaching financial literacy, and she and Mark have both been clear that they expect their children to work for what they want. This mindset might be why her kids, now adults, have made their own paths. Without leaning too heavily on their parents' fame or fortune, Michael has carved out a career in entertainment, Lola has pursued music, and Joaquin is balancing athletics with academics. Kelly's parting words on the topic. In typical Kelly fashion, she wrapped up her confession with a laugh, saying, "Look, if the boys want me to spend more on them, they're welcome to start asking for formal gowns, professional blowouts, and high heels. Until then, I'm saving my money." Her playful honesty resonated with parents everywhere, proving once again that while she may be a household name, Kelly Ripa's family life isn't so different from anyone else's, except maybe for the fact that her budget talks get broadcast to millions of viewers. The takeaway at the end of the day, Kelly Ripa's revelation wasn't about favoritism or frugality, it was about the quirks of raising 3 very different kids. Michael and Joaquin's easygoing nature meant they didn't require the same level of spending that Lola's more elaborate tastes demanded, and far from causing tension, the family seems to take it all in stride, with plenty of humor to go around. For parents listening in, the story serves as a gentle reminder: you don't have to spend equally to love equally. What matters is giving each child what they need, even if what they need costs a little or a lot less.